Normally, the Oscar announcements are met with excitement, but not this year. Almost immediately after the nominees were announced, the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite started trending. Although the brilliant director Ava DuVernay and actor David Oyelowo of the critically acclaimed film Selma were snubbed for top honors, they actually fall within a large list of black films that have been overlooked by the Academy. So we're taking the liberty to highlight your next movie playlist. Are you thirsty yet? Let's get quenched. I'm here kicking it at the Wonder Bread Factory with the fabulous Hans Charles, cinematographer and producer with Align Pictures, as well as co-host of the fabulously funny Back at the Theater podcast. Hey Hans!
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for joining me here on The Quench.
Thank you for having me.
So, Oscars weekend is upon us, and we know that right after the Oscars were announced for 2015, that the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite started trending.
Exactly, yep.
So, I've taken it upon myself to want to now go back in time and figure out what other black films besides Selma were snubbed by the Oscars. So, I want you to give us your top 5 Oscar snubs.
Top 5 Oscar snubs. That's a great list to have. Let's see. I would put at number 5 a pretty recent film, Fruitvale Station.
Ah, yes.
And I would say it definitely got snubbed for Best Picture and Best Lead Actor.
Michael B. Jordan. Was this his first film? His first main?
I think this is his first leading role.
Because he killed it. It was brilliant.
But don't forget he was in The Wire.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We did love him from The Wire.
And he was in soap operas.
Isn't everybody?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I want to do one day. Nonetheless, so he was snubbed.
Yeah.
The film was snubbed.
Ryan Coogler, the director, was snubbed as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4.
Number 4 might surprise some people, but I would say Menace to Society.
Now, I wrote a paper about that film when I was in high school because I wanted my white teachers to read about it. I read about the film and just the depiction of life in the inner city.
Probably one of the best cinematic use of cinematic languages in a film, I think, in recent history.
And Lorenz Tate.
Lorenz Tate for supporting actor, I think got snubbed. I think it was his best performance in his career and definitely Oscar winner.
I totally agree. I need to go back and watch Menace to Society.
Oh, I watch Menace to Society like once a year.
I feel like it was one of those films that I left theater, much like Crash, feeling like absolutely deflated, but it was so eye-opening.
Yeah.
What they talked about. Okay, number 3.
I would say number 3 would be Badass, a Mario Van Peebles film.
Now tell us the backstory on Badass.
Badass is about Sweet Sweetback's Badass song, which Mario's father, Melvin Van Peebles, directed in the 70s. And he directed an environment where black directors basically weren't allowed to direct. So he essentially convinced everybody that he was making a porno film. So the unions kind of stayed.
So black people couldn't produce an actual drama.
Nobody was gonna let him do it.
But a porno,
exactly.
he could get down
So
with.
he couldn't get equipment, he couldn't get insurance, he couldn't get anything. So when everybody thought he was creating a porno, everybody left him alone. And he basically made this black revolutionary film. And it's in the canons of film schools everywhere across the world.
So the film Badass,
tells
Mario
that
Van
story.
Peebles plays his father and is telling the story of the making of that film.
Yeah, and Mario, I believe Mario appeared in the film as a boy.
Wow. Okay, that's epicness. Yeah. That's a lot.
And there's always debate about whether Sweet Sweetback's Badass song deserves all the accolades in terms of how people see it as a black revolutionary film, but there's never any debate about Badass. That is an amazing film. Great adaptation in terms of the screenplay, great in the lead role, and even all the supporting roles. So I would definitely say Best Picture, Lead Actor.
Okay, that's a film that I have not seen that now I'm going to run out to go and get because you're convincing me that I've missed out. And I love Mario Van Peebles.
And a great piece of cinematic history, I think.
Okay, all right. Number 2 on your list.
Number 2 is a film that's adapted from one of my favorite authors, Walter Mosley, Devil in a Blue Dress.
Yes.
Don Cheadle, Best Supporting Actor, hands down.
Was the film nominated at all?
I don't think the film was nominated at all.
Okay.
So it definitely should have even got Best Picture. It was well photographed, maybe Best Cinematographer. There's a lot of opportunities. Best Adaptation.
Remind Quenchers what Devil in a Blue Dress is about.
Devil in a Blue Dress follows Easy Rawlins, who is a detective in this time it's in the late 50s in Los Angeles. And so he's kind of a private citizen who does detective work in the neighborhood. And he's looking for this woman who was killed in the neighborhood. And it turns out, spoiler, that everybody thinks she's white, but she ends up having a black background. So this, just talks about racial politics in 1950s LA, but it also, the background is all these people who left the South, migrated to the West Coast.
I'm here for all of that.
And just their struggles.
Detective, crime,
Amazing.
Black people.
Read all of Walter Mosley's books with
Okay.
Rollins, but Devil in a Blue Dress is a great adaptation.
All right, coming in at number 1 on your Oscar snub Black folk list.
Definitely all-time snub is Daughters of the Dust.
Okay. 4.
Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography. Definitely somebody in the cast should have been nominated.
So what is this one about?
This is the story of a family in South Carolina, in one of the islands off the coast of South Carolina. So it's a film that highlights what people call the Asian culture,
Yeah.
the Gullah Islands off South Carolina. So it's about a family that's having a picnic in one of the islands. So just you delve into just the family dynamics, the history. There's a matriarch. So it's an amazingly photographed film. It was Julie Dash's first feature. And it was an amazing picture.
Alright. So these are your top 5
That's my
Oscar
top
snubs.
5. And if you haven't watched these films, you should definitely check them out.
I'm definitely going to check them out. I'm going to pop a delicious bowl of popcorn and go through them because I'm all about the binging. These are movies that should not be missed. Thank you so much, Hans,
Thank you for having
joining
me.
the Quench.
Next time on The Quench, your pocket-sized guide to pop culture, we're talking art, pop life, and how to build your savvy art collection now with guest Sharon Burton, aka The Artimista.
That's it for us here at the Wonder Bread Factory. Consider yourself quenched. Until next time, stay thirsty, friends.